This is Boris the Micra, a car you may be familiar with, or maybe you have no idea what this car even is. But ladies and gents, the more I think about it, the more I think I've actually never done a video explaining everything about this car and also taking it out for a drive on the road. I haven't yet done that on my YouTube channel. So today we're going to go through the full specs of Boris the Micra. How much power is it running? How is it making that power? And also we're going to take it out for a drive on the road to show you really what it's like to drive a truly savage car, a Nissan Micra. Starting off with what's under the bonnet of Boris the Micra, we have a completely standard 1-litre Micra engine called the CG10DE with, of course, a turbo kit. And as for the specs on this turbo kit, we have, to start off with, a T25 base turbo, which isn't actually a T25, it's a Chinese replica, so it's a bit cheap. We do also have a custom intake, which has been built by the exhaust company in Newbury, and the main kind of party piece to this turbo kit is the tubular manifold. This makes an unreal exhaust note. We do also have on this setup a TurboSmart UltraGate 38 external wastegate, which runs a screamer pipe, which also sounds unreal. And we of course have our intercooler supplied by GizFab, our boost piping, and to hold all of this immense horsepower, a CG Motorsport clutch, which is very bitey. And as for fueling, we have a Walbro 250 fuel pump and QG18DE injectors, and those are making sure that we have enough fuel getting into the cylinders. And lastly, we of course have, well actually, you don't know about this because I've fit it off camera, but we have now fitted an aluminium radiator, a really thick aluminium radiator, to make sure that everything is running as cool as it can. All of this combines to around 120 horsepower at 7 psi of boost pressure. Now, I could run more boost and make more power. However, reliability is at the top of my priority list at the minute and not power. As for handling mods on Boris, we have Toyo Prox's TR1 tyres, we've got EBC discs and pads just on the front, and we have obviously our beautiful powder coated steelies. But the best handling mod on this car by a mile is the BC Racing BR Series coilovers. They are an absolute game changer for the way this car drives. Now, as you can imagine, Boris isn't the most aerodynamic car on planet Earth, but it does have two aero modifications. We have a bonnet scoop, which gets air into the engine bay. That is functional. It probably aids in the cooling, but it's more for the aesthetic. But we also do have the main party piece of the aero mods on Boris, the big wang. This definitely supplies some downforce. It probably reduces my MPG by a fair bit, but it does look very cool. And finally, as for the interior modifications on Boris, we have got some very fancy stuff in here, starting off with the pink aftermarket steering wheel, the pink center console, we've got a samurai sword as a gear shifter, pink floor mats, pink seat belts, which were supplied by the Airbag team, and I'll leave their link in the description of this video. And of course, the Honda Civic EP3 Type R seats to finish it off, and it is looking spectacular. So with all of that said, let's take Boris out for a drive and see what this car is like on the road. But before we take Boris out for a drive, I need to put on my seatbelt because I care about my safety. Now, safety is a very important thing when you're driving a car, but also when you're surfing the internet. And that is why today's video sponsor is NordVPN. So firstly, what even is a VPN? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. Whilst using one of these, your data is encrypted, so your websites that you've been visiting, your messages are all safe from hackers. But that's not all a VPN does. So let's say that you want to watch a show that is only available in the USA. All you need to do is go into NordVPN, change your location to the USA, and just like that, you'll be able to watch that show. Now, not only do you have access to 5,400 servers across 59 countries with NordVPN, but you also have the fastest VPN out there, confirmed by all of the speed tests. So guys, if you want to have access to all of NordVPN's awesome features, then click the link in the description of this video and use the code jackmcneill at the checkout for a heap of money off your subscription. And with that said, let's go see how Boris drives. ladies and gents, we are now out in Boris the Micra, the absolute beast, for the very first time on my YouTube channel. Now, it's not going to be a car that blows your socks off in terms of the horsepower, obviously. It's 120 horsepower. But what it is a very fun, light, nippy, good handling back road car. It weighs 800 kg, this car, and it's got about 120 horsepower. So with that said, I will drop into second gear, Boris, and put the foot down, and you will hear the turbo come in, and it's just... of the air in the turbo, and then you hear the turbo flutter. It sounds so good. This car is just, it's so much fun. It's just laughs. It shouldn't be doing what it's doing at the end of the day. It's got a 1 litre engine and a turbo strapped to it, and it sounds like this. Oh, come on. The fun of it is that it absolutely shouldn't happen. Like, a car like this shouldn't work. As for the way this car drives, it's obviously turbocharged, so the spooling comes up at, I guess, around 2,500 RPM, although I don't know because I have no rev gauge. I would guess it comes out around 2,500, 3,000 RPM. The boost comes on, you hear the rushing of the air, and then you get the peak horsepower between, I would guess, 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, and it just sounds unreal. It pulls quite nicely because, as I said, it is a light car. But like, for example, right now when I'm taking this corner, the car feels really planted, the tyres are good. It's basically the combination of the half decent power output for the weight and also the BC coilovers. The BC coilovers are a much needed upgrade, and they just make the car handle 10 million times better. So we're now in second gear, foot flat to the floor, sounds amazing, turbo flutter, rev up to third. Oh, this car is so much fun. And it isn't slow. Obviously, if you've driven, you know, a 500 brake horsepower BMW M4, you're gonna think this car is slow. But to me, it feels like it pulls really well. So, ladies and gents, I think we can all agree that Boris the Micra is an absolute specimen of performance, a thoroughbred, a certified hypercar. I do actually really enjoy driving this car. The funny noises that it makes, the light handling feel of this car, and just the whole kind of package, it just puts a smile on my face when I drive it. So I absolutely love it. Now, ladies and gents, I have a bit of an announcement to make, actually. Boris and I are going to be going on a road trip to Monaco. I'm going to be driving a 1 litre turbocharged Micra all the way through Europe to Monaco, which is going to be, well, a recipe for disaster. I hope not, but it most likely will be, because this car probably isn't the most reliable on planet Earth. However, it's going to make for a very entertaining YouTube video. So if you want to watch that and make sure you don't miss it, click that subscribe button below this video if you haven't already subscribed, and also like this video, why not? And also leave a comment down below as to what you think Boris is going to do on that road trip. Will he break down, or will he actually make it? And with all of that said, I'll catch you in the next one.